صلى الله على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. We are still in Surah Al-Baqarah. We are towards the end of it. So Allah Azza wa Jal said in this ayah, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فهزموهم بإذن الله وقتل داود جالوت وآتاه الله الملك والحكمة وعلمه مما يشاء ولولا دفع الله الناس بعضهم ببعض لفسدت الأرض ولكن الله ذو فضل على العالمين. A straightforward meaning of this, that by Allah's will they routed them, and Dawood slew Goliath, and Allah gave him power and wisdom and taught him whatever else he willed. And did not Allah check one set of people by the means of another, the earth would indeed be full of mischief. But Allah is full of bounty to all the worlds. Now the few points here we need to discuss really is that Dawood alayhi salatu salam, although he wasn't the king, he wasn't the leader, but he was a youth who killed Jalut. And this story also in the Bible, in the Torah. And Allah Azza wa Jal gave Dawood al-Mulk. Al-Mulk, here he translated, one of the translation is the power, but it is usually the leadership became Malik. So whoever get the leadership is called Malik. Al-Mulk, the ownership or the leadership or the power, and all is the same in a way. Allah Azza wa Jal did say before that he made Dawood what? A king or what? Khalifa. Yeah, Allah Azza wa Jal made Dawood Khalifata fil ard. Khalifa, ya Dawood inni ja'iluka fil ardi khalifa. إني جاعلك في الأرض خليفة. للناس خليفة في الأرض. إني جاعل no, this is the second one. يا داود إنا جعلناك خليفة في الأرض. So يا داود إنا جعلناك خليفة في الأرض, which here means the leader, the ruler. And this is where Muslim took the word Khalifa from, as a leader. While Khalifa is a replacement, the one who followed or preceded by somebody else. خلف من بعدهم خلف وأضاعوا الصلاة. So Khalifa could be good, could be bad. And Khalifa here for Dawood, يا داود إنا جعلناك في الأرض خليفة. So he was the Khalifa, the ruler on earth. Or it could be fil ard, not in heaven or not in another planet. And could be fil ard, the whole earth. So it's different, depends on what Allah meant with that. Because he said, فَحْكُمْ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ بِالْحَقِّ. So he was a ruler. He's expected to rule between people with the truth. And do not follow the hawa. Do not follow your desires. فَيَضُلُّكَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. So here the ayah explain what Allah Azza wa Jal meant when he said وَآتَاهُ الْمُلْكِ. Here we don't know what happened to Talut. Haven't actually read what happened to Talut. Anybody know? King, because he became king. So Allah Azza wa Jal gave him the kingship or the leadership or the ruler or the Khalifa or Khilafa. Khalifa here representing Allah Azza wa Jal. So Khalifa, not Khalifa to somebody else, not Khalifa to Talut. Is representing Allah Azza wa Jal on earth. Like the ayah which we came across just now about Adam, إني جاعل في الأرض خليفة. So representing Allah Azza wa Jalla on earth, receiving the message from Allah, passing it to the people. And here Allah Azza wa Jalla taught him al-hikmah, the wisdom, and وَعَلَّمَهُ, and he taught you a lot of other things. So wisdom is a gift from Allah Azza wa Jalla. It's a gift from Allah, is acquired directly from Allah Azza wa Jalla. It's not something people achieve by studying, or there's a lot of professors. Could be one professor is really wise and he established things and developed things. Another one is dumb. He remain the same. So it will be like somebody knows how to do things, become a leader or become head of the department, and they found that he has the know-how, and some doesn't know. وَعَلَّمَهُ مِمَّا يَشَاءُ, Allah Azza wa Jalla taught him a lot, and one of it is mentioned in Surah Saba, عَلَّمْنَاهُ صَنْعَةَ لَبُوسٍ. So he was Haddad. What Haddad?
An ironsmith.
Ironsmith. So he was making shields for warriors, for soldiers, to protect them from the enemy during the war. Blacksmith.
It melt on his hand.
So that's one of the things Allah taught him. Allah taught him also how to talk to animals, how to talk to birds, how to, he were hearing the mountains praising Allah Azza wa Jalla. So he taught him the sounds of the mountains. So if you search throughout the Quran, you'll find that Allah Azza wa Jalla has taught him a lot. عَلَّمْنَاهُ صَنْعَةَ لَبُوسٍ.
Zabur also, yeah? Zabur, Tawrat, Zabur.
Zabur, yeah. Zabur Musa. صنعة لبوس لتحصيكم يوم ظعنكم ويوم إقامتكم وعلمناه صنعة لبوس لكم لتحصنكم من بأسكم فهل أنتم شاكرون. So this is صنعة لبوس. Allah Azza wa Jal taught him the making of coats of mail for your benefits. Coats of mail, how he translated that?
Yeah, they call it chainmail. Chainmail.
Chainmail.
Yeah, I don't know why they just put mail, but Sanat al-Abus is called chainmail.
For your benefit, to guard you from each other violence.
It's the metal, isn't it, when they wear it?
Yeah. There's another word in the Quran. يوم بأسكم. علمناه صنعة لبوس لكم تحسنكم من بأسكم فلم. والله جعل لكم مما خلق ظلالا وجعل لكم من الجبال أكنانا وجعل لكم سرابيل تقيكم الحر وسرابيل تقيكم بأسكم وكذلك. So this is the sarabil. The first one to make it was Dawood alayhi salatu wassalam. And the other thing in the ayah, having mentioned that the sons of Israel requested the permission to fight the enemy, and Allah Azza wa Jal gave that permission, Allah Azza wa Jal then said why he gave permission to people to fight each other. So here Allah used the word dafa. وَلَوْلَا دَفْعُ اللَّهِ النَّاسَ بَعْضَهُمْ بِبَعْضٍ. So there's the good ones and the bad ones, and the good one will stop the bad one from mischieving on earth. If the good one do not stop the bad ones, then the whole earth will be full of mischief. So the earth is protected, and the earth here in another ayah Allah mentioned what he meant, which part of the earth. So ولولا دفع الله الناس بعضهم ببعض لهدمت صوامع وبيع ومساجد وبيع لهدمت ولولا دفع الله, the same word he used, ولولا دفع الله الناس بعضهم ببعض. He encouraged the good ones to stop the bad ones. Otherwise, if they don't, then they will destroy sawami', which is the temples used by people who usually left their religions, or like Sabi'in. Wabi'un, which was the churches, the meaning of the churches, and salawat, which is the synagogues, and masajid, which is the Muslims' masajid. And what he, in English, what he meant, because this is what Sha'rawi said. So did Allah not check one set of people by the means of others, there would be surely have been pulled down monasteries, churches, synagogues, and mosques. So monasteries, those who are individual worshippers, most of them will be attached to religion and left it. Sabi'in, they call them Sabi'in. And here Allah said it's Sawama. So Muslims, when they went out to fight for the sake of Allah, were instructed not to attack people living in Sawama. He has his own place of worship, worshipping Allah. Could be individual, could be group, smaller group. Now,
Do you see synagogues? Or is that different religion?
Say it loudly.
Do you Sikhs use the synagogues like we use the mosques, or is that different religion?
It's not Sikhs.
Not the Sikh, the Jew. The Jew. So what happened if the bad people have the control, which they did in Russia when revolution took place in 1917? For some reason, they went and destroyed, and they closed all the mosques and churches and the synagogue, and you come to them, why would they do that? It seems they are by nature, when they disbelieve in Allah Azza wa Jalla, they become like so much sinister. It's like what's happening now in Gaza. You want to chase the Hamas, but why you will justify killing all these innocent people, 20,000 people? Why the world accepted from them, like America and UK and Germany and France? If you go to a house and you want a bad criminal, do you justify to yourself to kill everybody till you get him?
Yeah.
It's amazing how you claim to be superpower and you have all the skills and you have the ability. Why didn't you find a way to hunt this so-called Hamas without killing this number of innocent people? You have all these sophisticated machines and drones and lasers and whatever they call it, laser-guided missiles, laser-guided bullets. But why you justify? How you justify? Because the power is not balanced. Now the problem started when Russia lost control. Soviet Union destroyed, so the balance became unbalanced. It became only one superpower, America. And they're doing what they want to do. No check on them. So Allah, there's no other power checking on them. Now China is trying to be a superpower and checking on them, but they are still afraid of checking on the American military power. Sorry.
There was a thing trending on social media about Americans reading Osama bin Laden's letter. You hear about it? And they're saying, he's got a point and this and that, and a lot of Americans got really angry, like the politicians and things, because it was trending. But because he was basically saying that he was talking about Palestine in his letter and how they attacked America because America funds Israel and is destroying Palestine and things.
Bin Laden never been against America or Israel. He's against CIA. And he wants to use the Muslims by saying, I am against the Zionists, I'm against America, I'm against the imperialism, whatever. But he is a guy who was working hand by hand with the CIA against the Russian. And this is how he ended in Afghanistan as the head of the Mujahideen. And he recruited a lot of Mujahideen from the Arab world and from the Gulf and things. And when they managed to kick Russia out of Afghanistan, we don't know what promise the CIA promised him, and they broke the promise. So he was keen to take revenge from America. He wanted to use the Muslims, like Hamas now, using all the Muslims and the Arab and everybody. We are fighting for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. Yes, you're fighting for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, but you're killing 20,000 Palestinians. How would you justify? Can you imagine Prophet Muhammad ﷺ fighting the alliances and hiding underneath the Sahaba and the Muslims? I mean, the way they are doing it, there's nobody checking on them. They don't listen to anybody. But when they are in trouble, they thought now Egypt will come and stop the war, and or Qatar or whatever, and they couldn't stop the war. And they had to lose nearly half their buildings and 20,000 and 50,000 injured. And the same mentality, Daesh, ISIS, mainly killed Muslims in Iraq and Syria. Now, Hezbollah, we thought that it would be in Tel Aviv by now. But then, destroyed a tree in North Israel. Oh, the Hezbollah threw missiles and they killed a cow or something. Where is this, we're fighting? Or the Houthi, they send a missile and we don't know where it landed, in the middle of the desert or hunted by. Now they're boarding ships, Somalian boarded ships, and they ended them. They managed to cut them and destroy them. You can't come and with a few Houthis, like boats, and just stop the trade across the globe. It will cost them 13% more money to go through the around South Africa. I will slow them down to 3 days, and they're not going to keep quiet. So this mentality is not going to win. And subhanAllah, they just keep carrying the same mentality. So Allah Azza wa Jal said there should be a power checking the other power, and they're always checking each other. Now obviously Russia now lost in Ukraine, and they 1 year and still haven't achieved anything, 1.5 years now. So back to the ayah, it is important that people are checked so they will not destroy the earth like what they did. The people lost, some lost all their family in Gaza. Some lost all their trade, all their building, all their, only 7 hospitals out of 100 hospitals functional now. They destroyed their hospitals, which against every law across there's no check on them. So the Arab not in a position to even check, bring them to the international law, and how dare you break the international law. So Allah Azza wa Jalla said, تلك آيات الله نتلوها عليك بالحق وإنك لمن المرسلين. So this the ayahs, the signs of Allah Azza wa Jalla, which is super clear or super phenomena, or super, like the Quran, super book. نتلوها عليك بالحق, with the truth, and in truth. وإنك, O Muhammad, one of the messengers. وإنك لمن المرسلين. And Allah Azza wa Jal said, but the messengers, there's people who were brought in ranking better than others. So Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned the first one, منهم من كلم الله, and we know that was Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. Although we know Allah Azza wa Jal talked to Adam before that, and obviously Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he talked to him in Mi'raj. And ورفع بعضهم درجات, raised some in the ranking, and it's more higher steps than others. وآتينا عيسى ابن مريم البينات, we gave him all the evidence and the truth and the explaining why, and supported him with Ruh al-Qudus, Jibreel. And he mentioned this so you could take straight away what Muhammad ﷺ has. So he was spoke to by Allah Azza wa Jal, and he was given the law, and like Musa, and he was given the spiritual also spirituality like Isa alayhi salam. So he balanced both. You have the power, the knowledge, and the spirituality. And if Allah Azza wa Jal wished, people would have not had any fight after that, after they have all this evidence. But because they disagree with each other, some of them believe, some of them don't believe, and if Allah Azza wa Jal wished, they would have not fight each other. But Allah Azza wa Jal, He chose to leave it like this. He could have created all people like angels, always obedient to Allah Azza wa Jal. They never commit anything wrong. So those messengers, in English here he translated it, we endowed them with gifts, some above others. To one of them Allah Azza wa Jal spoken to, others He raised to degrees of honors. To Jesus, the son of Mary, we gave clear signs and strengthened him with the Holy Spirit. And if Allah Azza wa Jal had willed, succeeding generation would have not fought among each other after clear signs that came to them. But they chose to wrangle, some of them believing and others rejecting the faith. If Allah Azza wa Jal had so willed, they would not have fought each other, but Allah fulfilled His plan. So in summary, this the ayah that Allah created people to differ, and those who believe of them will always bring into account those who don't believe. Because those who don't believe, by nature, they will try to rob you whether you like it or not. If you look into the last 300 years, and like the head of FIFA said, the last 3,000 years, they started attacking countries physically. I mean, Britain, one of them, went to India, went to China, went to Afghanistan, Pakistan, all the Arab countries, not all the Arab countries, Iraq and Egypt and Sudan and Yemen and Palestine and Jordan. France went to Syria and Lebanon and Algeria and Morocco and Tunisia. Italy went to Libya, and Germany went to South Africa and went to other countries in Africa. But when they became skilled enough to rob you without invading you, they pulled out. Now, one of the major robbing to the world is replacing their money with the dollar and euro and sterling and the Japanese yen and the Swiss franc, because they managed over 150 years to replace your money by the dollar and by these five currencies. Now they are yuan, the Chinese. But in a way, they are stealing you by, you need this foreign currency to buy. So you buy the foreign currency and the price of foreign currency goes down. So you indirectly take part of your money. When we went to Egypt in 2013 or 14, we exchanged the pound for 8 Egyptian pound. It's now 40 each pound. So how much the Egyptian pound lost? And the British pound was $4. It's 1.27 now. So how much a British pound lost for the dollar? How much the Egyptian money lost for the dollar is even more. And then there's countries like in Syria, we used to exchange a pound for 50 Syrian pound. West was 6 pounds, then 8 pounds, then 40 pounds, 50 pounds, 70 pounds, and now 17,000 pounds. So the value of your money gone. Where to?
Except
But then
Saudi,
yeah, the Saudi link to the dollar,
America, yeah.
it goes down with the dollar,
Yeah, yeah.
like it or not. You might be like India, sometimes try to get out of being linked to the dollar, so they might stay a bit above the water. In Turkey, he tried to do that, but there's a lot of economy spreading by borrowing money, and then they need to pay the money they borrowed, the euro dollar, and then they lost the value of their lira is now down. It's now 37 lira for a pound. When I first went to Turkey, it was 4 liras for a pound. Became 7, and last time we went 17. Now it's 37. So they're steering you, and no check on them. Like they have a Visa. Every time you buy with a Visa card, you create money from nothing for at least 25 days if you pay. If you don't pay, it could last longer. So the mentality now, they have the ability, the skills to actually rob you without you even able to do anything about it. And then you go to stock markets and the industry, the American robbing all Europe. Now the FTSE 100 is still within 7,500 points. The American was 9,000 back in the turn of the millennium. Now it is 37,000. So who's buying the American stock and not buying the European stock? The European buying the American stock. So this is why the economy is still keeping, above the water. So here is no check. There should be a power to check on a good power to check on the bad power. And that doesn't exist now. And that's, subhanAllah, is causing a lot of trouble to all of us. So Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned this ayah, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَنفِقُوا مَّا رَزَقْنَاكُمْ. The way out of it is zakah. You make you able to stand by on your own feet, and if you don't use zakah, you're going to borrow money from them and pay interest, and then the value of your money will drop because the IMF come and lend them money, dictate how they pay back the money, what to plant and not to plant. So Allah Azza wa Jal, subhanAllah, this ayah came straight after that, because that gives you independence, and He wants you to spend before a day comes when there is no friends will benefit you, nobody will can intercede for you, and the kafirun will definitely be the wrongdoers and go to hellfire. The next ayah I'm going to leave to next week because it's Ayatul Kursi and might need to go in more depth about this ayah. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam Muhammad Nabi Ummi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. We'll stop now. We'll go to the topic inshallah in a couple of